I made a mistake. It had financial consequences. We live in a world where we only want to show the good, right? Everyone wants to show their best selves, put their best foot forward, and only show their highlight reels. This is what social media is for, right? Showing the best of ourselves, and we post our vacations and our highlights and our achievements and all these things. We don't post us rotting on the couch eating Cheetos, watching our 8th episode of something, or all the other negative things that happen in our lives. We always want people to think that we're perfect in every way and that we never make mistakes. We see this in resumes and bios, and we see this in the covering up of our mistakes. If a mistake was made, it was someone else's fault, right? It was not my fault. It's their fault. Don't blame me. There's some other extenuating circumstance that caused me to make the mistake, if it were even my mistake to make, right? That's the world we live in. We blame others. We point fingers at the other side of the office, at the other political aisle. Sure, everybody makes mistakes except me. Or at least that's what we'd like others to think. I'm trying to teach my kids a better way. And when my daughter Elodie was younger, she I used to tell her, hey, it's okay to make mistakes, right? She'd spill something or make a mess, and I tell her, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. You just need to admit it and make it right. And one time I spilled something myself, and she patters up to me and she says, "Dad, it's okay to make a steak." And she's right? It is okay to make steaks. They're delicious. And it's also okay to make a mistake. And I make mistakes, right? You make mistakes. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. The only time I walk on water is when it's frozen. I make mistakes. I make professional mistakes, right? I'm entrusted by people with often their life savings and some of their most complex financial transactions, and yet I make mistakes. I'm paid to plan for and execute these financial things, and yet I make mistakes. Thankfully, none of my professional mistakes have been irreversible. None of them have cost any money that we couldn't get back, and there's always been a way for us to make it right. Sometimes we drop the ball on communication, which adds friction to our normally buttery smooth process. And the client experience is less than ideal, and I need to own that, right? And other times, it costs real money. For example, last year, we'd harvest some gains from a client account, right? So their values were up. We sold them when they were up for some various reasons, and so the client owed taxes on this transaction. But we forgot to submit the estimated taxes for the transaction that we executed, right? There was a internal communication error, and those taxes were never paid. Well, when we did their taxes this past spring for 2022, we realized our mistake. And because they still owe those taxes and didn't pay them earlier, they now also owe the taxes and an underpayment penalty and interest on top of that for being late on those taxes. Were the taxes owed our fault? No, it's their money. They made money on it. You make money, you pay taxes, right? That's the nature of things. And so the taxes are their responsibility. But was the penalty our fault? Yes. Yes, it was. If we had done our job the way that we were supposed to, if we hadn't made that mistake, if I hadn't made that mistake, we would have submitted their taxes last summer, and there would be no interest. There would be no underpayment penalty. None of those things existed. And so, yes, we're the ones giving the advice. We're the ones managing money, including the taxes. Our internal miscommunication caused this client to owe a penalty. And I could have done what many people do. Right? I could have hidden the mistake under the rug. It's doubtful that this client would have even have noticed if we just said, "Hey, you owe taxes, and here's the final amount you owe. We can submit that for you if you like." They've just been like, "Yeah, go ahead and take care of it." They wouldn't. They're not the type to really go line item by line item in their tax returns. That's a lot of people hire us for. They don't want to be deeply involved in tax code and what's really going on in their taxes. And so this client probably would have never noticed if I just said, "Hey, here's the taxes you owe. Just go ahead and pay them." Right? If I never told them, we would have been just fine. Or I could have blamed someone else, right? I could have told them that the IRS made it too complicated, or that Schwab messed up something in the execution of this, or that employee didn't follow instructions the way that I told them. Anything else to take the blame away from me. But none of those things are true. And that's not what we do around here. So here's how that conversation went. Chuck and Diane, which is not the real names, of course, but it's what we use for everything. Chuck and Diane, you owe this amount to the IRS and to the state of Wisconsin. It's primarily because of the taxes you owed on that transaction we did last year. It also includes an underpayment penalty and interest since we didn't pay the taxes in the summer when we should have. I failed to ensure that your taxes got paid last summer. With your permission, we'll submit the tax payment from your account to the IRS and the state to cover the taxes, but we, Lacrosse Financial Planning, already paid the penalty and interest on this since I was the one who made the mistake. Is that okay with you? Do you think it was okay with them? Of course. Did that cost us money? Of course. But it was our mistake, so it cost us money. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we own it. Both the mistake and the consequences. Right? You can't just own a mistake and say, hey, yeah, I know I made the mistake, but you still deal with the consequences. No, owning a mistake means that you own not just what you did, but also the consequences of that. And it may cause short-term pain, but it's the only way to run a long-term business. So we all make mistakes, right? And whether we own it or and make it right or blame it and deflect responsibility, that's what sets people apart. Our commitment to our clients is not that we will never make a mistake, but that we will always seek to make it right. Make a mistake, admit it, make it right, and move on. That is how you deal with mistakes. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did enjoy that, you would love being a part of our free membership community. It's called Retire Membership, and you can sign up today completely for free. When you do that, you get a host of bonus and exclusive content that we don't give out anywhere else. For example, you can buy my book, 3D Retirement Income, on Amazon, but if you become a Retire member, we will send you one for free or give you the audiobook and ebook just for signing up. You also get additional bonus content, exclusive content, including Client Corner insights from some of the best minds in behavioral investing, workbooks to go along with our workshops to help you get the most out of it, and more ongoing bonus and exclusive content. Some of this you can't get anywhere else, and so we would love for you to join our community. You can join now at retiremembership.com. Otherwise, there's a link in the description of this video where you can sign up. All we want to do is continue to give you the best information out there so that you can retire successfully and stay successfully retired. So you can go in there, do that on our website. There's also a longer form podcast. I think it's episode 80 that will help explain what it is and what we're trying to do with Retire Membership. But join now for free. Get this and much more exclusive content by joining us today. We look forward to seeing you there, and thanks for watching. Cheers.